सर स्क्रीन नहीं नजर आ रही।
ज्वाइनिंग में और पहले वो कनेक्ट नहीं होता, फिर ज्वाइनिंग में हर आप अगर 10 मिनट से करी जा रहे हैं, पहले आप थोड़ी देर के बाद कर दो।
सर आपकी सिग्नल वीक है ना।
नजर आ रही है अब?
यस सर।
हाँ जी, स्क्रीन शेयर हो रही है?
यस सर।
यस सर, नजर आ रहा है।
Yes.
चलो चलो। So continuing with the polysaccharide, some of the polysaccharide we discussed last time. So next one is the cellulose. So cellulose is the chief constituent of the fiber of the plant. So it is considered as the most abundant organic material which is present in nature. As you can see, the cellulose content of the wood ranges from 41 to 53%, and that of cotton 97 to 99%. And cereal straw generally contain 30 to 43% of cellulose. So you can well imagine that how abundantly this is distributed in nature. Pure cellulose for experimental studies is generally prepared from the raw cotton because already you know that it contains 97 to 99% cellulose. So it is extracted with organic solvent to remove lipids and other soluble impurities. Then it is treated with alkali to remove pectin and other non-cellulose substances. So you will get pure cellulose.
सर अभी
So,
सारे बच्चे ऐड नहीं हुए, वो मैसेज कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा, कर लिया करें ना, मैं 10 मिनट सिर्फ उसको करने में कर रहा हूँ, हो जाएगा साथ साथ। So cellulose is basically not a source of energy for the body, but as a fiber, it is very important for the intestinal bacteria. So the basic structure of the cellulose is made up of a repeating disaccharide unit, which is called as the cellubiose. So cellubiose is formed by the alpha D glucose and the beta D glucose through 1,4 linkages. So as you can see in maltose, there are also two glucose residues, but both are linked through alpha linkages. But here alpha and other beta. So beta 1,4 linkage is formed. So that is the reason it differs from the cellubiose. So due to presence of this beta 1,4 linkage, this linkage is not recognized by the amylase, so amylase cannot digest cellulose in the body. So that is the reason that the cellulose is not digested by the human body. So molecular weight of the cellulose is about 570,000, and that of pure cellulose ranges from 150,000 to 500,000. Cellulose is generally insoluble in water, soluble in concentrated hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, and phosphoric acid. So only soluble in concentrated acid, not soluble in water. That is another reason that it is not absorbed in the body. So this is the cellulobiose structure. You can see one glucose molecule is present in the alpha form and other is in the beta form. So beta 1,4 linkage. Okay. अच्छा चलो मैं आपको क्लास हो रही हूँ। So it is linked through beta 1,4 linkage. The importance we had already discussed. So the repeating units of this disaccharide will form a continuous chain and constitute the molecule of cellulose. So animals lack the enzyme needed to break down these linkages. which is cellulase, is not present in the animal secretions. So the rigidity of this or resistance of this cellulose is dependent on the van der Waals interaction, which cause cellulose chains to be straight and rigid and packed with a crystalline arrangement in thick bundles called microfibrils. So these microfibrils are found in the plants. So the role of cellulose is to impart strength and rigidity to the plant cell, which can withstand high hydrostatic pressure gradients. So the presence of cellulose is essential for providing resistance to the plant cells, which have to face harsh environmental conditions. The chief importance of this cellulose in the human nutrition is that it provides bulk to the food that help to satisfy appetite number one and stimulate intestinal peristalsis. So by satisfying appetite, you have to eat less, because if you take refined food, it will be full of calories. So much calories will be taken, but if you have much of fiber in your diet, it will satisfy your appetite but will provide very low calories. Similarly, it stimulates intestinal peristalsis, and by stimulating intestinal peristalsis, it prevents the development of constipation. So it contains beta-1,4 linkages similar to cellulose. It plays a structural role in structural component of certain invertebrates, in which so this chitin is another variant of cellulose, which contain the beta-1,4 linkages, but the monomer in place of glucose is N-acetyl glucosamine. So when two molecules of N-acetyl glucosamine, they combine and then they form a chain, the product is called as chitin, and this chitin plays important structural role in the component of the exoskeleton of the invertebrates. As you have seen, these invertebrates have a very thick exoskeleton, so that again is required to meet the harsh environmental conditions. So this chitin is present in the exoskeleton of the invertebrates. Tunicine, another variant of cellulose. Cellulose as tunicine is present in certain marine animals like tunicata, polycarpa, and Thalusa mammillata. So these are the few marine animals in which this cellulose is present in the form of tunicine. So cellulose generally yields D-glucose and hydrolysis by a strong acid. So various bacteria produce enzymes cellulase, which completely hydrolyze cellulose to glucose. So cellulase is absent from the animal digestive juices. Herbivorous animals, they utilize the cellulose by virtue of the cellulase, which is produced by the bacteria and the fungi present in their intestine. So this cellulose, although not digested by the man, it is digested by certain animals. And these animals also do not have the enzyme digesting required for digestion of cellulose, which is cellulase. So cellulase is mostly produced by the bacteria which are present in the intestine of these animals, which can utilize these fibers or the cellulose. So what is this dietary fiber which we have just been talking about? So fiber can be classified as soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber include pectin and gums. It dissolves in water to form a gel in the digestive tract. Now this increases the time in food in the small intestine, so it increases the chances of nutrient being absorbed. So the soluble fiber is present in the form of pectin and gum. It is soluble in water, which dissolves to form a gel-like structure in the digestive tract. And when this gel-like structure is formed, it increases the time the food stays in the intestine, so increase the chances of absorption. So soluble fiber is important that it helps in absorption of certain nutrients by allowing more time them to stay in the intestine. Soluble fiber plays role in lowering the LDL cholesterol level, which is considered as a bad cholesterol in the body, and this could be due to binding and increased accretion of fat and bile acid or other mechanisms which are not yet understood. So, by just binding these high molecular weight substances like lipid, it also prevents their absorption in the intestine and help into decrease in the level of bad cholesterol, which is the LDL cholesterol in the body. Low density lipoprotein. Low density lipoprotein. So the bacteria which are present in the intestine, actually they use fiber as a food source. So these bacteria can degrade the fiber and release some component that can then be absorbed and used by the body. The increased nutrition for the bacteria can increase the growth of these bacteria in the intestine, which leads to increased bulk of the stool with little of the fiber actually present in the stool. So this is the underlying mechanism by which it prevents the constipation in the intestine, that these bacteria, they use the fiber or cellulose as their diet source, and multiply at a very rapid rate. And as you know that these bacteria, they have very short half life, so they generally die and go on multiplying, dying, and over. So that dead bacteria increase the bulk of intestinal content, and as you know that as the bulk of intestinal content is increased, intestinal movements are stimulated and the constipation is prevented. Insoluble fiber is present in the form of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, which is actually non-carbohydrate component of the cell wall and is included in the class of dietary fibers. It can absorb water, increasing the bulk of volume of the stool. So basically, insoluble fiber is the measure which directly increase the bulk of food by taking up water. It helps to speed the movement through the intestinal tract, preventing constipation. So it's prescribed in the treatment of irritable bowel syndrome, a disease in which there is a rapid diarrhea. So it also controls the movement of the intestine. So insoluble fiber bind fat soluble carcinogens and remove them from the gastrointestinal tract. So it also decrease cancer risk. So insoluble fiber, in addition to increasing bulk of the food and preventing constipation, it also decreases the risk of developing cancer of the gastrointestinal tract. So dextrans are the next class of polysaccharides. These are the highly branched polymers of glucose, which are formed when certain bacteria like this Leuconostoc mesenteroides or some other microorganism, they are grown on the sucrose solution. So if you grow these,
सर एक्सक्यूज मी, मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स बोल रहे हैं उनकी लिंक एक्सेप्ट नहीं हो रही।
जी जी,
सर मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स बोल रहे हैं उनकी लिंक एक्सेप्ट नहीं हो रही, वो लिंक सेंड कर रहे हैं, रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट नहीं हो रही, तो वो काइंडली एक्सेप्ट कर दें।
अच्छा So dextrans, they are the polymers when the glucose when certain bacteria like Leuconostoc mesentery, they are grown on the sucrose solution. So the compounds which are formed, they are called as the dextrans. So these dextrans have a variable molecular weight which may be up to 4 millions. The branching sites in these, they are highly variable, and all type of linkages like 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 and 1, 6 linkages, they are found in dextrans. So the major property of these dextrans is that they have the property of absorbing water to form a viscous colloidal solution. That is important for their clinical use. So the structure of these dextrans is a complicated one because in all the other polysaccharides you have seen only the 1,4 or 1,6 linkages are formed. But in case of dextrans, all types of linkages like 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 and 1, 6 linkages, they are formed. So these dextrans, they are not metabolized in the body and are used when given intravenously in retaining water for longer periods. So they are used as plasma expanders or substitutes in the treatment of shock. So as we talked earlier that they can hold water and form a gel-like substance, and as they are not metabolized, so they can remain in the blood for longer period. So they are used to expand the volume of blood, and this is done in cases of shock, like water loss from the body or excessive blood loss. So when they are not immediately available, these dextrans can be given to prevent shock and restore the blood volume. So for this purpose, the smaller molecular weight dextrans ranging from 40,000 to 70,000 are used, and the commercial preparations available are in the name of dextran 40 and dextran 70. Dextran 40 means it has a molecular weight of 40,000, and dextran 70 it indicates that it has a molecular weight of 70,000. So next polysaccharides, they are the mucilages. So mucilages include three subclasses: agar, gums, and pectins. So agar is a polysaccharide which is present in the seaweed and contains sulfated galactose. Sulfur attached to galactose. Sulfated galactose is present in these. So it dissolves in hot water and set to a gel-like substance on cooling. So it is not digested by man. If ingested, it stimulates intestinal peristalsis. So it is also used as a laxative. It is also used as medium for bacterial growth as it is not liquefied by bacteria. So the major use of these mucilages is that they are used as a medium for the growth of bacteria in the laboratory, which is called as a culture media. So they are used as a culture media for bacterial growth in the laboratory. Andy? Laxative होते हैं which prevent constipation or they stimulate intestinal movements. Vegetable gums, as the name indicates, they are polysaccharides which contain hexoses or pentoses, or both hexoses or pentoses could be present, but they also contain sugar acids with them. So common example of them are the gum acacia and gum arabica. So if you hydrolyze gum arabica, it will yield galactose, arabinose, rhamnose, and glucuronic acid. So these hexoses, pentoses, and sugar acid. So this is the composition of basically gum arabica. You may not need to remember all of it, but a common example of vegetable gums, they are gum acacia and gum arabica. Now these gums, they are generally used as adhesives, as you know, common use, and they are also used in the confectionery and in the pharmaceutical industry because they also act as protective colloids in the to be used in medicines. So agar, gums, and third one are the pectins. So pectins, they are polysaccharides of galacturonic acid, meaning that the sugar acid of galactose. So galacturonic acid is present, galactose is present, and the pentose sugar arabinose is present in these pectins. So they also have acetic acid and methyl alcohol in their structure, and they form gels with sugar at certain pH values and are present in pulp of apples, lemons, and oranges. So now they are the major source of this raw material for manufacture of jam, jellies, and marmalade, as they are easily available in the fruit pulps of apples, lemon, and oranges. So after extracting juices from these fruits, the pulp is also you converted to the pectin, which is then used for the manufacture of jam, jellies, and marmalades. So wide application of these pectins in the industry. And finally, they in this class is hemicellulose. Hemi means it resembles that of cellulose, but is a polymer of aldopentose. Cellulose is a Andy? Aldohexose is glucose. Aldopentose is xylose. So hemicellulose is formed by this aldopentose in 1,4 linkages. Other property is the same as that of hemicellulose. So next we come to the derived carbohydrates. So first one of these are the glycosides. So glycosides are basically non-reducing and can be hydrolyzed to constituent reducing sugars by boiling with dilute mineral acid and also by the enzyme.
आवाज नहीं आ रही
आवाज हाँ मेरे पास तो ऑन है, अपना नेट चेक करें।
एक्सक्यूज मी सर।
जी जी
सर वो 80 के सीआर का मैसेज आया कि उनकी रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट नहीं हो रही सर, वो बहुत सारे बच्चे रहते हैं।
मैंने कर दी है उनको।
सर का माइक ऑफ है ना? मुझे आवाज नहीं आ रही है, किसी को भी नहीं आ रही।
आपके मोबाइल में कोई मसला होगा या इंटरनेट में कोई मसला होगा।
So alpha glycosides, they are hydrolyzed by maltase, while beta glycosides, they are hydrolyzed by an enzyme which is called as emulsin. And this emulsin is present only in the bitter elements. So enzyme hydrolysis affords a method of distinguishing between two forms, meaning that these alpha and beta glycosides. These glycosides, they are present in the roots, barks, roots, and frequently leaves of various plants. And a number of glycosides are important in medicine. For example, digitonine, which is present in the foxglove leaf or the plant which is called as digitalis, has action on the cardiac muscle and contains steroid as a glycone. Other examples of glycosides are amygdaline of bitter almonds, fluorescein of rose bark, and indican of from leaves of indigo fera plant. So basically, these glycosides are actually the compounds in which one of the hydroxyl group is replaced by a non-carbohydrate residue, and this non-carbohydrate residue could be a methyl group or a larger group, even in the form of a steroid. As you can see, in case of digitamine, the A glycon or the non-carbohydrate group is the steroid. And this is a very important glycoside which is used for the treatment of cardiac failure. Other example of these glycosides are amygdaline, which is present in the bitter almond, fluorescein, which is isolated from the rose bark, and indicant from the plants of Indigofera. Amino sugar, another class of derived carbohydrates, and they are the sugars which are formed by replacing a hydroxyl group by an amino group at carbon number 2. So when carbon hydroxyl group present at carbon number 2 is replaced by an amino group, the sugar is converted to amino sugar. So by replacing the hydroxyl group at carbon number 2 by amino group, the sugar will be converted to amino sugar, and they are named after the sugar from it is formed. For example, glucose will be converted to glucosamine, galactose will be converted to galactosamine. So glucosamine is mostly present in nature as a constituent of mucopolysaccharides and mucoproteins like hyaluronic acid, heparin, and blood group substances. So glucosamine is the chief constituent of the cell wall of fungi and of the shells of crabs and lobster, where it is present in the form of chitin, which we have already discussed. So chitin is mostly made up of many molecules of N-acetylated glucosamine. So glucosamine is readily prepared by acid hydrolysis of chitin, and due to this reason, glucosamine is sometimes called as chitosamine. Galactosamine, on the other hand, is present in the sulfated mucopolysaccharide, which is present in the chondroproteins. Chondro is from cartilage, so it is mostly present in the cartilages. So when chondroproteins are hydrolyzed, protein and chondroitin sulfates are obtained, and chondroitin sulfate on further hydrolysis give rise to galactosamine, uronic acid, and sulfuric acid. And because of its presence in cartilage in high concentration, galactosamine is sometimes called as chondrosamine. Chondrosamine because of its relationship to the cartilage. So N-acetylated amino sugars, they are also present in certain antibiotics like erythromycin. So erythromycin is an example which contain these N-acetyl amino sugars in it. So finally, some properties related to these carbohydrates. One is this fermentation. Fermentation is carried out by certain enzymes present in the yeast and certain microorganisms. They bring about conversion of hexoses to ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. So these enzymes which are present in yeast and certain bacteria, they have the property of acting on the monosaccharide and hexoses and convert them to ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. And the process is called as fermentation. And the rate of fermentation is inversely proportional to the availability of oxygen. So if it is present in closed container, it will be rapid. But if it is exposed to atmosphere, the fermentation process will be lower. So under anaerobic condition, more alcohol is formed, while under aerobic condition, the intermediate pyruvate is formed, which is convertible to acetate and metabolized in the citric acid cycle. So as you can see in the body, under aerobic conditions, when the oxygen is available, This glucose is not fermented and is converted to pyruvate, which is then converted to acetyl-CoA and is metabolized in the citric cycle. But if you allow these hexoses to stay outside and if they come in contact with the yeast or the microorganism, then the process of fermentation occurs and alcohol and carbon dioxide is formed in the process. And the last one, the artificial sweeteners. So artificial sweeteners, they are the simply called as sugar substitutes. So they are sugar substitutes because you know that the sugar, common sugar, sucrose, has a high glycemic index or it has high caloric value. So if you take more sugar, you get more and more calories. So these calories need to be decreased, or the person who are suffering from diabetes, they need to stay away from these sweets. So these artificial sweeteners are used to make the food more palatable. So these artificial sweeteners are the sugar substitute, are the food additives which duplicate the effect of sugar in taste with less energy. Some of these are natural, while most of them they are synthetic. The synthetic artificial sweeteners, the synthetic one, they are actually called as artificial sweeteners. So artificial sweeteners are much sweeter than the natural ones, so lower quantity is required to achieve same amount of sweetness. So that is the reason that very less energy is obtained from it. They have.
सर आपकी
सर
आवाज
एक्सक्यूज मी
दोबारा कटने लग गई है।
जी
आपकी आवाज
सर एक
दोबारा कटने लग गई है।
हेलो
सर एक क्वेश्चन है मेरा।
यार आवाज आएगी तो कैसे करोगे ना।
सर क्वेश्चन ये है कि जो हमारे पास नॉर्मल घरों में जो शुगर यूज होती है वो आर्टिफिशियल स्वीटनर होगी या नेचुरल स्वीटनर?
वो तो नेचुरल शुगर है, शुगर केन से लेते हैं आप, नेचुरल सोर्स है ना वो, दैट इज ए नेचुरल सोर्स, इसीलिए ज्यादा स्वीट है।
ठीक है सही।
आर्टिफिशियल आर दो दे आर मच स्वीटर देन दैट, बट दे आर टेकन इन वेरी माइन्यूट क्वांटिटी, सो दैट इज द रीजन दे आर आर्टिफिशियली प्रोड्यूस्ड। ये अभी आप देखेंगे आपको समझ आ जाएगी। They have much lower calories, so are recommended for those who are trying to lose weight or who are suffering from diabetes, as they do not increase the level of blood sugar. Generally, mono and disaccharide used as sweeteners, like fructose being the most sweet of all. Glucose, fructose, and sucrose, they are used as the natural sweeteners in various foods. Trehalose is a disaccharide present in insects, plants, fungi, and bacteria. It is 45% sweet as compared to that sucrose. It is a disaccharide of glucose formed by 1,1 linkage, and it is a non-reducing sugar. So this is another form which can be used as a sugar replacement because it is less sweet as compared to that of mono and disaccharide.
जी मैंने लास्ट टाइम भी करा सीआर पे, दोबारा फिर वो कर दिया, फिर बात उधर ही रह गई थी।
क्या
डिस्कनेक्ट हो रहा है सारा अगेन एंड अगेन, आपके मजा नहीं आ रहा।
मेरे तो क्लियर, अपना देखें, मेरे तो क्लियर आ रही है, ये आपकी आवाज भी क्लियर आ रही है, इधर से जो मेरा माइक है वो भी, उसमें कोई डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं है।
तो सर मेरे सिग्नल फुल है जी सर।
चले बात जो समझ आती आए हैं आप करें, बाकी नेक्स्ट एक लेक्चर जो है वो फिर बाकी तो इंशाल्लाह हो जाएगा। तो coming to the artificial sweeteners, the most commonly used one is this aspartame. Available in the market, it is actually a combination of aspartame or aspartic acid and phenylalanine, both amino acids. माइक अपने बंद रखें वरना डिस्टॉर्शन ज्यादा होगी। माइक अपने बंद रखें। So aspartame is actually a combination of two amino acids. It is 200 times sweet as compared to that of sucrose and has been found to be associated with increased cancer risk and can cause neurological and psychotic disorders. So may also cause diarrhea, vomiting, gas, and may hinder normal brain development in children. So this is the reason that although it is freely available in market, it is said that it should not be used more often because of lot of side effects associated with it. In children, weak memory and poor concentration, bronchitis and asthma has been reported. It is recommended that children should not be fed artificial sweeteners and encourage sweet, naturally sweet food like fruit and milk. Saccharine, although another very important commonly used artificial sweetener, is 500 times sweet as compared to that of fructose, but is found to be carcinogenic and may lead to cancer of the bladder. This is the reason that it is now generally banned item, but because it is very cheap and very sweet, it is 500 times, so only very small amount is required. So it is being commonly used by the public for preparation of adulterated syrups, which are available in market freely. Pregnant and lactating mothers must not use this saccharine. It contains sulfonamide and may cause sulfa-allergy such as skin diseases, nausea, headache, or diarrhea. It also contains heavy metals, arsenic, and methanol. May contain chlorocarbons, which are injurious to liver and kidney. So, lot of side effects associated with it. So, generally, it is a banned item in most of the country, but in our country, because of poor law enforcement, this is freely available and is very cheap, so commonly used in the manufacture of adulterated syrups and sweets. So, other artificial sweeteners which are not commonly used, but African plant is katamfil. Is 1600 times sweet as compared to that of sucrose. Although generally speaking, the sugars were considered to be the sweet in taste, but you can see that the South African berries contain a protein which is monoline. It is 2500 times sweet as compared to that of sucrose. But as it is not freely available, so not commonly used. Stevia, this is now becoming very popular, natural one. It is also called as a sweet plant, is 1600 times sweet, and its extract is 2500 times sweet as compared to that of sucrose. So it has zero glycemic index and calories. It is now recommended that instead of all these artificial sweeteners which are being used, this stevia, which is derived from the natural plant, should be used as a sugar substitute. It is not an actually artificial sweetener, but it is a sugar substitute present in the plant naturally. Sucralose or Splenda is another artificial sweetener being used in the market. It is chlorinated sugar, which is 1600 times sweet as compared to that of sucrose. Contain impurities like heavy metals, arsenic, and methanol, and contain chlorocarbons, which are injurious to liver and kidney. The acesulfame K is 200 times sweet as compared to that of sucrose. Most common low-calorie sweetener in use today and approved by FDA is acesulfame K, available in the form of ACE-K. When ingested, it is not broken down in the body, contains methylene chloride, and prolonged consumption may result in kidney and liver inflammation. Depression and nausea has been reported in some persons. So again, even this is not safe for use, continuous use. Sorbitol, sorbitol, as you know, is sugar alcohol. Is a sugar substitute and added to many diet foods and may cause flatulence or the gas. bloating and diarrhea. Bloating is just accumulation of gas in the tummy, and diarrhea. Sorbitol is also used as a laxative because it stimulates the intestinal movement and it draws water inside large intestine, causing osmotic diarrhea. So there is a link of sorbitol and irritable bowel syndrome. Sorbitol is not digested in small intestine and contributes to bacterial fermentation, so it is mostly used as laxative rather than sugar substitute. And the hydrogen which is produced as a result of fermentation by this causes stomach cramps, flatulence, meaning gas production and accumulation in the intestine. So consumption of 10 grams of sorbitol a day leads diarrhea. Sorbitol is a polyalcohol sugar, not digested nor absorbed by small intestine. It travels to colon and causes part to go in opposite direction, thus lead to watery bowel motion. So generally, it is, can be given for treatment of constipation, as it has very low side effects as compared to that of other laxatives which are being used. It's for osmotic diarrhea, but it can be used for short term only, not for the longer period. So this was about the today's lecture, and tomorrow we will be discussing the rest of the carbohydrates. So, and note one thing, that tomorrow lecture will be at 8:30 instead of 9:30. I'll also drop a message here. So tomorrow's lecture will be at 8:30.
ओके सर सर
जी जी
सर आप स्लाइड सर शेयर कर दे सर, मैं मैरीन को भेज दें, वो हमें ऑफिशियल ग्रुप में भेज देंगी, या फिर सर आप सर हमें लास्ट टाइम भी स्लाइड नहीं मिली थी।
यार आप गूगल क्लास में जब जाते हैं तो क्लासरूम में क्लास वर्क लिखा होता है, उसमें सारी लोडेड है, पड़ी है उसमें।
सर हमें नहीं मिल रही सर, हमने चेक किया था तीनों डिपार्टमेंट में सर, अभी तक सिर्फ फॉर्म डी वालों की एनरोलमेंट।
कंबाइन वाला खोलें और डीएस वाला खोलें, उसमें होगी डीएस वाला फोल्डर और ये कंबाइन वाला फोल्डर, उसमें।
ओके सर।
जी जी अच्छा।